Good. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North American Unitarian Association's July worship service. NAUA is a member service organization dedicated to supporting and promoting the practice of liberal religion by embracing freedom, reason, and tolerance, rooted in our commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of every person and all peoples. So I'm glad you guys are all here. I have a few announcements before we begin, and we're going to try something new. I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully this will go as predicted. Let's see here. How does that look?
Just fine.
All right, let's see. So this coming Thursday, the book club is meeting, and the book they're working with is Love Your Neighbor: How Psychology Can Enliven Faith and Transform Community. And new members are always welcome. On the 26th, which is a Sunday, the Joys and Sorrows Circle will be meeting. This is a fairly new circle. It's meeting every fourth Sunday. You're invited to bring a joy, a concern, a moment of gratitude, or a sorrow from your life to be shared with others in a spirit of care, respect, and community. This is a drop-in circle. No registration is required, and sharing is optional. Being present and listening is also a meaningful way to participate. On August 3rd, the Circle Photography as a Spiritual Practice is meeting, and there's still room for a couple new members if that's something that interests you. It's for people who love expressive photography and experience the act of making photographs as meaningful in and of itself. Through our lenses, we can enter moments of contemplation, flow, deep presence with the world around us. New members of all levels of experience and all types of cameras are welcome. The Saturday Chat Conversation Circle meets the second and fourth Saturdays, and it is open for new members. They have various topics, usually decided on the month before what they're going to talk about, and new members, as I say, are welcome. On Sunday, August 9th, the Discourse Circle, which is about respectful and difficult listening. What does respectful communication look like when we don't see eye to eye? Sometimes we need a space to express our true perspectives and share the reasoning behind them. And in this topic-based group, we will explore how NAUA members can disagree agreeably. I am not sure whether this circle is still open or not, but you can, if it's something that interests you, you can email circles at NA Unitarians and see if they're open, and if they're not, get on a waiting list. Next Academy session is Tuesday, August 11th. We just had one last week. It was wonderful. And you can go to the website, to the Academy section, and view all the recordings of all the past sessions. The board meeting will be Sunday, August 12th, and folks can go to the board meeting. They ask that you let them know in advance that you want to come so that they can give you the link, I guess. And in October, it is not too soon to think about the summit. It's going to be all virtual this year. Helen Pluckrose will be our keynote speaker, and more details will be available online and probably in the Compass as things develop. So I'd like to take a quick moment just to pass the virtual hat. NAUA is financially dependent on the generous and voluntary support of our members and friends. Your contributions enable us to sustain a growing and vibrant liberal religious presence and liberal religious voice throughout North America and elsewhere. As you are able, please support these and other NAUA programs and services by making a donation by mail or online. NAUA is a 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit organization, so you can make a gift to NAUA that satisfies your required minimum distribution out of your qualified IRA. This would count as part of your RMD, but not count as income to you, and it would not be taxed. Ask your IRA custodian about making a qualified charitable donation to NAUA. And you can visit our website and go to the Support Us page for more information. All right, our homily today is going to be given by Rev Twinkle Marie Manning on the topic of sustaining through change. Her service is going to explore ways to approach inevitable change positively. Reverend Twinkle is well known to us. She has inspired us with many services in the past. She's the contract minister for the Universalist Unitarian Church of Waterville, Maine. She's an author, poet, retreat leader, liturgist, and a semi-retired television producer. She has served for many years on the core leadership team for UU Women in Religion and was the creator of the UU Talks platform. And her theology is centered in living life as prayer. All right, we can begin.
Morning. I'd like to start us off with a thought for contemplation. This is by Octavia Butler. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. So we have this flame. I don't know if you can see it, but may this flame burn and remind us that each of us can offer goodness and love, and that each of us can be a blessing to the world. Thank you.
Okay, now me.
Uh,
Yeah.
Now I recall my childhood when the sun burst to my bedside with a day's surprise. Faith in the marvelous bloomed anew each dawn. Flowers bursting fresh within my heart each day. Then looking on the world with simple joy, on insects, birds, and beasts, and common weeds, the grass and clouds had fullest wealth of all. My mother's voice gave meaning to the stars. Now when I turn to think of coming death, I find life's song in star songs of the night, in rise of curtains and new morning light, in life reborn in fresh surprise of love.
Okay, now me.
Yes, Lamont.
Yeah. Paradise Home by Octavia E. Butler, Parable of the Sower. The child in each of us knows paradise. Paradise is home, home as it was, or home as it should have been. Paradise is one's own place, one's own people, one's own world, knowing and known, perhaps even loving and loved. Yet every child is cast from paradise into growth and destruction, into solitude, new community, into vast ongoing change.
Each year, I take part in a ministerial summer school. Last year's theme was Sustainable Living, Changing Our Ways and Saving Our World. One of the awarenesses that came to me so clearly during one of our small group writing sessions was this: change permeates the human experience and the world we live in. Equal to this seems to be our resistance to change. Can we reconcile this? Our group together dove deep into these themes, each participant taking us more fully into the discussions we had. Sometimes, whether in stream of consciousness or ocean deep dialogues, we can find it difficult to get back out from it, from within the paradoxes life is filled with. Find it difficult to focus in on the deepest meanings of what it is we are all saying, thinking, and feeling. One of my co-participants, Rika Koffel, summed up our findings so succinctly when she said, "We sustain what we love. We keep and care for what we love." Again, we sustain what we love. We keep and care for what we love. This is essential to remember as we, as part of our interconnectedness, have an intrinsic double bind, as so eloquently described in our Thought for Contemplation by Octavia Butler. She says, "All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. This constant truth of change has been long grappled with by mystics and scholars for as long as we've had written words to refer back to. We've seen this theme explored. In the 6th century BC, ancient Greek pre-Socratic philosopher Heraclitus among the ones most known for this. Central to his paradoxical philosophy are the concept of change and the unity of opposites. He viewed the world, and thus us, as in constant flux. In one of the few papyrus fragments of his work that have survived to this day, it is written, "The only constant in life is change." Fast forward to the century most of us grew up in, and we find that we are still grappling with this. Octavia Estelle Butler centered her work, her writing, on concepts similar to this. In her prophetic writings, she described a new spiritual path based on the invariable of change. Known as the mother of Afrofuturism, she was the first Black woman to win the Hugo and Nebula Awards for science fiction writing. Octavia also became the first author to receive a MacArthur Genius Fellowship Award for science fiction writing in 1995. Many know of her through her best-selling Kindred novel. She is also the author of the to this day, increasingly popular Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents, the first 2 books in her unfinished trilogy. These books, published in the 1990s, foretell a 2020s future that has aspects, especially in political and religious rhetoric, and the violent responses of citizens that are frighteningly similar to what we've witnessed over the past several years. Written as dystopian science fiction, her words seem now prophetic. Her novel describes Earth impacted devastatingly so by climate change. She depicts a society in the United States unstable with effects of climate change and all manner of corruption, communities run over with lawlessness, drug abuse, violent crime, largely due to extreme wealth inequality, corporate greed, and fundamentalist religions. Christian American crusaders, doctrine being imposed on citizens. The protagonist of her book has a medical condition of hyper-empathy. In her case, this manifests as an uncontrollable ability to feel the sensations she witnesses in others. When those she sees are in immense pain, her body embodies that pain, crippling her in the moment and taking her breath away. She has found ways to mitigate the overwhelm to varying degrees of success through mastering her thoughts, learning how to direct them, yet not in such a way that ignores the suffering she sees. While we may not physically feel the pain of others as her character did, many of us have experienced our hearts broken open and experienced sleepless nights thinking about the suffering, the pain others are enduring the world over, even here in our local communities. And we too must find ways to protect our hearts and minds while not ignoring the harshest realities experienced by others. For if we ignore these things, we cannot change them. Change is a constant theme in Octavia's book series. Seeking security, safe places to live, and food and water, things many before then and even now we take for granted, yet are all very tenuous realities. The reliable access to them is controlled by others. Her series watches the protagonist on a journey seeking a new home. She is in constant danger, yet she is also developing tenacious hope. During her trek, she gathers other people to be with her on her journey. There is safety in numbers. There are many benefits to being in the company of like-minded people. And having long discarded the religion of her youth and long re-envisioned what God is and is not, she develops the earthseed religious path and begins to teach it. Many today have incorporated her fictional teachings into their own very real spiritual practices. Spiritual practices are a key to helping us sustain through all change. Shifting gears momentarily away from science fiction to modern science, there are practical things we can do to mitigate negative aspects of change. And our bodies have wonderful ways of signaling us with advance warnings. There is an acronym called HALT, H-A-L-T, reminding us to take a moment, especially when we are feeling overwhelmed, to pause and ask ourselves, am I feeling hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? HALT was originally developed by David Stream, MD, a psychiatrist and addiction specialist, as a reminder to stop and identify the triggers that might lead to a relapse. The model works in non-addiction related settings as well. It seems simple, perhaps even silly, but it really can be beneficial, as it helps us to access ourselves in relation to any given situation we may be in. It can offer a reset, especially if the ways we are coping with these things are destructive or self-destructive. To pause, recognize we are in reaction mode, and to name the feeling that is taking the lead in the reaction. Am I feeling hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Each of these are valid feelings. Yes, even anger. Anger is a normal, even healthy response. How we express that anger, though, can have positive or negative ramifications. Loneliness can occur whether we are alone or when we are surrounded by others. Sometimes we self-impose being alone, yet we do not have to self-impose loneliness. Perhaps we are in a work or family environment with people who do not share our same values. That can create feelings of deep loneliness. HALT, and if loneliness is what we are feeling, consider when the last time you spent time with people who share your values. Remind yourself you have people you can reach out to, and reach out to them. Invite them over to your place, or go for a coffee together at a local coffee spot, or come to the church for one of the amazing groups we have here in NAUA land. There's so many virtual options for you to gather together, and I know some of you are meeting in person as well. Often when we gather together with others, we eat delicious food, so that's an added bonus. Often our HALT reveals that this feeling we are having is our bodies signaling hunger. How often do we forgo nutritious food for some version of fast food? How often do we skip meals or not gift ourselves with a snack when we are hungry? There are other kinds of hunger too. We can hunger for affection and for understanding. These tie back to our need for community. We are interconnected and need that connection. HALT often reveals we are tired. Boy, are we tired. If you are feeling tired, it really is time to stop and take care of yourself. Tiredness can really take its toll, body, mind, and spirit. Often we forgo the early signs that lead to exhaustion. Tiredness becomes part of what feels like our natural element. Yet It is a symptom of us not satisfying our personal need for rest. We need good sleep at night, yet often undervalue it until it is long overdue. We need good relaxation time during our waking hours as well, yet we often discount this as a mere luxury item. It is not. Regulating relaxation to either reward status when we feel that we've done enough impactful activities, or reducing relaxing to an afterthought only if there is time, is minimizing that relaxing is actually a basic human need. It is a mechanism of rejuvenation. Halt. Am I feeling hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? HALT often reveals we need a reset in one or multiple aspects of our lives, sometimes for the moment, and sometimes as a lifestyle shift. And we know that it is possible because, as Octavia affirmed, all that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. Because, as Heraclitus wrote on that ancient papyrus, the only constant in life is change. Another quote by Heraclitus found among the fragments of his work pointedly reminds us that no matter what we are looking at, what the circumstances are, good, bad, or indifferent, no matter how stagnant something feels, it is not stationary. It is not even fully formed. He says, nothing is, everything is becoming. Nothing is, everything is becoming, because the only constant in life is change. It is up to each of us to determine what is becoming. How we go about that can impact us and everything around us. We want to remember that. Sometimes it means ignoring what is right in front of us to grant ourselves the freedom to create something entirely new. That was what worked for Octavia Butler. She was the first Black female science fiction writer. She says she began the journey with eyes tightly shut. She didn't look out for confirmation that she was on the right path. She didn't look for acceptance or even encouragement. She didn't look for predecessors, for there were none. In her interview with Democracy Now! In 2005, when asked how she set out to become a science fiction writer when there were so few examples for women of the day, let alone Black women working in the genre, Octavia said she never doubted her abilities. She said, I assumed I could do it. I wasn't being brave or even thoughtful. I wanted it, and I assumed I could have it. And so she did. She created something into existence. And so should we. When we see in our mind's eye something that could exist in our lives, in our communities, in the world, that would make it so much better, don't wait for someone else to lead the way. Be the leader. Name the thing that is so important to you. It has you dreaming of it day and night, and go do it. May that be so. Amen.
So that Friday is good commitment. Friday is good commitment. Yeah.
So I'll extinguish this chalice, but hopefully this time together stays with you. And with that, we'll stop the recording.